Welcome to Behind the Curtain, Nashville's movers, shakers,
and tastemakers.
Brought to you by Cord Real Estate, your key to the heart of Nashville. I'm Steve Luther alongside my co-host Van Hoy.
Here we peel back the layers of Nashville's vibrant scene, sitting down with the innovators, creators, and leaders who shape our city. From music to business and everything in between, we dive into the journeys that have brought them to where they are today.
We're here to uncover the stories behind the success, the passion driving their pursuits, and why they've chosen Nashville as their stage. It's about the people who dream big, push boundaries, and make this city truly unique.
So join us as we explore the heart and soul of Nashville through the eyes of those who know it best.
Welcome. Well, in this episode of Behind the Curtain, we're joined by Benjamin Baylor, a distinguished figure in international music publishing. As president of Baylor Music Publishing, Benjamin has carved out a niche in bridging talents across continents, from the musical hubs of Nashville and Munich to the broader global stage. His journey in the industry, marked by early experiences with BMG and innovative ventures like Direct, showcases a pioneering approach to music publishing and digital distribution. With Baylor Music Publishing, Benjamin brings a fresh perspective to the music world, focusing on administration, synchronization, and the nurturing of eclectic songwriting talent.
There it is.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. This was an amazing roundup for sure.
In Germany, do they say niche or do they say niche?
They actually say niche.
Oh, niche.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So I like adopt that.
I like that.
You got the accent from the French, and then that turns into niche.
I like it.
Even though in French it's obviously niche.
We've already learned something.
There you go.
Yeah.
well, Benjamin, you began your career in Germany during a pretty transformative period for music. How did those early experiences shape your approach to music publishing and digital distribution?
Well, I want to say maybe that started even before I was actually working in the industry, because even when I was in school and, the internet was kind of blooming and it was kind of a situation where we all started to use a little bit of Napster, share some MP3s and tap into the digital world that was known back then. So that's the end of the 90s. So
I was to say back then.
1996, 1997, this kind of time. That's when I already knew that this is really interesting and I wanted to do something in that field at the same time. I knew also that the music industry was the place for me to go. So I kind of tried to merge these two fields and really indulge myself in doing things like that.
Cool.
So your venture Direct, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but
we called it Direct. Yeah,
Direct. Okay, Direct was very innovative for its time. You were offering live concert recordings on USB flash devices immediately after the shows. What inspired this idea? What were some of the challenges and successes you encountered?
So back then,
and this was in the 90s?
No, that was in 2000 and 2001 when we started.
The 90s would have been CDs, probably.
Oh man, in the 90s, you were like, if somebody was trying to record a show, we were like tackling you and sending you off. You weren't allowed to stay in that venue. We literally had security looking around for people who were
absolutely
recording.
Yeah.
I remember the first time somebody pitched this idea to us. We were like, have you lost your minds? Do you know what we'd have to go through for all the rights and all the stuff? Oh my goodness. That'll never happen. It'll never happen.
But it did.
Oh, it did.
Oh yeah, it always did.
That's why we're here today.
So the genesis of this project, I want to call it, was actually that when I was working at BMG, they recorded music videos for literally every single artist that they had on the roster. Now, what that did was the two main outputs basically was MTV and Viva, another broadcaster for music television. Mm-hmm. And the moment that MTV or Viva did not pick a single or the music video, then, it was basically a flop.
Right.
So, we did some calculations, and at the time, we figured out it was millions that were being spent every week on getting these videos done. Now, recording a video now is very different to recording a video back then. To the younger audience. So that was something, that we laid down and basically said, okay, this is what it looks like. This is how much money you guys are losing every day. Now, broadcast was one thing. Digital broadcast or watching videos on the computer was a wholly different story back then. So we thought, well, it works. We had the codecs and the formats already there. And, you could have these little tiny videos that you could share. Why not look into digitizing all the videos that are being done and basically putting them on a platform and have them shared? Well, we presented this idea, and it was taken down really quickly by the guy that was running the shop back then. And he said, well, you guys are too young. You don't have the rights, basically go back into your stable and do your job.
Sure.
So that was the one thing. But then it just didn't leave us. So we just kept developing this idea, and we just kept, working on the whole thing. And then a few years later, we both first had a job, and then we went to university, my partner and I back then. And what we then, experienced was the USB flash device was something that people liked because it was a transportable format for data of any sorts. So, well, I guess we just, merged the initial idea with the idea of a USB flash device. Plus, in all honesty, if we would have wanted to record videos and put them on DVDs, that would have been way too expensive.
Right.
So that's why we focused on that. Plus, the problem back then was that the data was quite expensive, right? So we had to limit it to sound only, even though video was always on the agenda, if you like.
Sure.
And then, we started recording the musicians on stage and big bands actually at some festivals as well. So the first festival that we were at was the Nova Rock Festival in Austria, where you have like 80,000 sold tickets a day. And that's where we started out. And I had the pleasure of negotiating all these deals, sometimes behind the stage, or I should say under the stage,
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that was fun. Looking back was like completely crazy, but it was fun for sure. So yeah, that's what we did, and then we did that for a couple of years until I guess the whole the hotness of the flash sticks basically was gone a little bit, and plus everything else became way more digital, and people started using music, on iTunes and things like that.
Right.
More. Yeah.
So Baylor Music Publishing is very focused on boutique solutions for songwriters and publishers. Share more about what sets your company apart in that way and its supporting its clients.
So first of all, with the German background coming to Nashville, I think I'm a bit of an outlier in that I'm not focused on country music. So I'm working a lot in dance house, EDM, and pop.
Cool.
And my personal rock side wants to sign rock bands as well. So that's what that's what I've been doing for the last few years as well. So that's one thing that I guess sets me apart. The other thing is I do like working internationally with a lot of different songwriters from America, but also from Europe, from Australasia, literally everywhere around the world, where people can write songs is what I'm after. And what comes with that is also a network of partners, so as in publishers who trust in my company for collection in North America, or American publishers that we represent over in Europe. So what comes with that is the need for pretty critical understanding, I want to say, about how performing rights organizations work around the world, and the challenges that each of them is facing in the particular territory.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's fun.
Oh yeah.
You've got a strong focus on synchronization for TV and movies as well. What's a project you've worked on that's particularly memorable?
Well, there were a few movie projects that we worked on, European movies that also made it internationally. One of them has been receiving some awards in America, even at the festivals. So that was nice. But even some, blockbusters. We had the pleasure of contributing a few seconds of music, so that was nice as well.
It's always exciting.
It is very exciting. Yep.
Oh yeah.
And the whole, I want to say, psychology behind getting music into moving picture is amazing, because it has such a big impact on the actual picture, or the meaning, I should say, of the particular picture that you see as the audience. Probably, like, a lot of people don't probably realize what the music does to the scene or to the actual thing that's going on the screen, but it plays a big role.
So is it for people who are watching, is it a better get to get the a key scene, or like the intro or the outro or whatever?
I mean,
when I'm watching a movie, what should I be like? Oh, there it is.
I think everyone knows what the situations are where you realize how important the music is.
Right.
But I think the art, especially for music supervisors, is to pick the song that has the right mood for the right scene, and create something that is very untangible, but plays a large role in the movie. Yeah. So I guess the
Top Gun, you can just instantly hear the music.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. That's Harold's doing. Yes, for sure. I mean, everyone has that sound or the song in their heads instantly. So it does a big thing. At the same time, if you're thinking about slower movies, then the tension that you can create with music just exceeds the actual picture that would be rather dark and not much to see without the music. So,
yeah, they say if you watch a horror movie on silent, it's not scary at all.
Doesn't do anything, right? So well, depends on the splatterness.
Well, well, it's just chocolate sauce. Isn't that what we learned from Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah. And chop it is too. Like it has to be always quickly, and it's an interesting field of work for sure.
Yeah.
Well, your work spans various global music hubs, including Nashville, London, Berlin. How do you navigate the creative and the business landscapes in those diverse cities?
How do I navigate it? Well, I guess the most important thing in all of this is the human contact that you have with the people. And there has to be a sort of, well, it's trust and it's friendship. And it is, playing off the same chords, if you like. So you have to be on a certain same level with the people that you're working with. I think this is vital. If you're an indie publisher or indie individual in the music field generally, I think this is very important. And it doesn't matter if you're in America or if you're in Europe or if you're everywhere. It's always like that. So the personal touch is very important.
Right. Are you focused on trying to find the song, or are you focused on just trying to nurture writers and just churn out as much as you can?
Well, we all are looking after the song, right?
Right.
That's the fun about this. At the same time, in order to find that song, there's a lot of songs that are being created, and these songs need to find homes as well. So it's a balance, and I think that's the most important thing about this very digitized industry that we're in. You have to find a balance between what actually drives you and what you can actually achieve without burning out. I think that's a very important point.
So how much of your time do you spend like just listening to the songs?
Well,
I mean, is it just
I don't
hours
wanna-
a day?
Yeah, it is. I don't want to separate it from the other things that we're doing as publishers.
Right.
But listening to songs certainly is, I don't know, maybe 60-70% of the time.
Mm,
I mean, if I'm working on a contract and if I'm, looking at numbers or whatever,
right.
I'm not listening to music for
course.
sure. But, the rest of the time you have to listen to what people are sending you.
Right.
And they also, everyone, I think everyone is used to this now, but everyone wants a quick response as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
Man, I remember back in the day, it was all that unsolicited stuff. We just return to sender. Yeah, not solicited.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the music that songwriters are
sure,
sending
from your
me, or
writers.
my partners are sending me for sync purposes and things like that. So,
yeah,
I mean, we're using a lot of technology to manage the large catalogs that we're representing, but at the same time, you have to know what's going on, and you have to know what is where, at least, the general direction, and because the moment we get a briefing in of whatever it is, it might be a film or an ad or just a briefing from partner companies that are looking for songs for the artists, we have to know where it is. So,
Now, Van, you've got an advantage on me here because you've got a music background and I do not. But over the years, we've talked about this. You said as a manager, you always, had bands kind of at different phases. You had like your
developmental bands, the ones who are working, the bread and butter, those who are legacy that just made money.
Yeah. Do you have the same thing on the publishing side of things? Do you have like certain artists that you've got in sort of this development world, and you try to keep people in different segments? Or
I want to say no matter what stage you're at in your career, but the development never stops. And the most important thing with that is that even if you have reached some sort of success in this industry and you're making money and it's going well and all of that, the driving factor why you started with music in the first place is because you have the innate ability and necessity to create. And what comes with that sometimes is anxiousness, or sometimes is the challenge with yourself to change yourself, or you feel like you have to change yourself. So what comes with that is the constant need to create something that's different. And then I guess in partnership with the creators, it is our job to navigate through that and also, make sure that the majority of the works that they're cranking out is something that we can find a good home for and make some money with. So
I found that songwriters were a humble group too, because they were always open to co-writes. They were always open to meeting new young writers, whatever. It wasn't just, okay, I'm this established person. Obviously.
I agree.
They were
that's what's driving
respectful
people.
of each other, And man, the money, right? They my next door neighbor, one of his many claim to fame was he wrote part of this Dirty Dancing soundtrack, and so he called it mailbox money, right? That's what he lived on, mailbox money. He'd say, I'm going to work. He'd walk out to the mailbox, right? Yeah. There it is. Oh, he just put up, and the check would be in the mail. He would just hold it up in the air at me. And he's like, yep.
You're talking 2.5 men here. Right?
Exactly. So it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Good old mailbox money.
And yeah, I guess we all don't mind that. But the truth is, it's hard work to get that mailbox money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And as per usual, with the movies or with the TV show in this instance, it's not everything is bliss and fun.
It's not all Dirty Dancing.
Yeah. But for sure, I think, for me, it's the best industry to be in. So I do like real estate. Don't get me wrong.
Well, you got to have somewhere to put all that mailbox money. Yeah. Come on.
You talked about, how artists are so open to working with each other. Part of what we've talked about with other people is how collaborative Nashville is.
Oh yeah.
Which is probably because of the music industry being so rooted here. Do you find that to be the case in some of these other places like Berlin or London? Or?
Yeah. So I think Nashville is Nashville. The way that it works is very unique, and the partnerships that you can find here and the friendships that you can find here are very unique. The same goes for different territories and different scenes. I mean, LA has a similar thing, and you will always find groups of people and friends who like working with each other, and they've been doing this for years, and they will continue to do so. And that's the same in Berlin, for example, as well. In saying that, a lot of times around the studios that you find in Berlin, you also have then groups of songwriters. So it's not necessarily the publishers that form these groups. It's a lot of times the producers that are there, and it's just, a collective collaboration setups that merge together and work together. And it's a bit of a different thing when it comes to an artist is being sent to a particular producer, and then they are working with that group that is there. So that's more a thing that you see in these kind of territories. So it's not that the song is there and then you find a recording anymore. That also happens, but not as much as it used to. So I guess that's one of the biggest differences. And then the collaboration, especially in dance and house and EDM and these kind of genres, is really limitless. Like there are no borders, there are no culture circles, there are no, it doesn't matter. It really is dulled down to the music. I shouldn't say dulled down. It's it's not about anything really. It is friendship and it is communication for sure, but the music really drives the collaborations then.
Well, the music industry has changed a lot over the last 10, 15 years.
Tell me about it.
It does every day.
I think, sort of that intersection of technology and music has been a big passion of yours. Where do you see that relationship evolving, and what are some of the innovations that you see coming down the road that you're excited about?
Well,
or not excited about?
if let me put it this way: if there are cracks in digitization, then you would see them right now. The issue is you can't see them because it's digital. I think the biggest change that we all know about since last year is artificial intelligence and the outcomes that are looking scary in parts, and in other parts are not that scary because people can actually make use of them and apply them in their daily work and make things easier. That's at least what we're trying to do on the music publishing side with the big data problems that we're facing. And in parts it helps. Then, of course, there's the con side, which is you don't know if you can trust it 100%.
Right.
That's one thing. The next thing is it can create music very, very fast. Is that music going to be good to human ears? We don't know. There are hit and miss scenarios right now. I think what I found really interesting is to see how fast vocal edits have changed with artificial intelligence. What I mean is you can listen to something right now. It will be created by artificial intelligence, and it will be very hard to hear if it's human or not. And that's something that I did not expect in, let's say, October, September last year. So that's definitely something that has changed, or that is kind of scary because it's a development that happens so fast.
Right.
So I think with everything in life, there's good and bads.
Sure.
And so I think here's a thing, and people might not like this, what I'm going to say right now, but
okay, here we go.
I think
bracing.
I think talent is
Yeah.
talent, right?
Right.
So there is a certain portion of talent that everyone has. In music, I think
Everyone has talent. I heard the quote of the day. I heard everyone has talent.
and not I don't know, not particular for
You hear that, baby? You can sing.
not for music in particular, but everyone has a
That's
talent
right.
of
That's
talent
right.
in some way, right? So I think the talent, the success for future talent will be to combine whatever talent they have musically with AI.
Right.
So I think this is going to be the interesting part where someone is going to create something that will be extraordinary and never heard before, or at least, very different to anything else that was out there. And I think that's the challenge, to really, wrap your arms around what is there and
Right.
make it really something cool.
But then can they do it live? That's my thing,
Well, you're facing this question every day right now.
That's right. That's right. You see these legacy artists come out and they can just wail, and you're like, you're 80 years old and they can wail. Then you got somebody who's 40 who can't even perform what they did 20 years ago.
Yeah, and don't even need to be 40.
So true.
But artists have been using, some of this deep fake technology for several years now for like radio promos and that kind of thing, right? I mean, they don't.
Well, and before that, with just on the onset of Pro Tools back in the day, I mean, I remember when I was doing some A&R for a label here on Music Grow, and we had somebody who sounded a dude that sounded like Celine Dion, and we were like, "Bring him in," And then he came. We had the big showcase, and it was just as awful as could be. It was like, oh,
yeah. Even like back when Elvis was around, you had Charlie Hodges was his. The guy
don't
that
be
handed
telling
him scarves,
secrets. Don't be talking.
He could
secrets.
sound just like him. I heard the stories.
Okay.
From him.
From him. Okay.
So.
You heard it here.
Let's switch gears a little bit. You're involved with songwriting camps across the world as well. Tell us a little bit about that. How does that work, and what's been kind of the outcome from that?
So there's basically two approaches to songwriting camps. One being that a label has an artist and they want a particular set of songs written for the artist in order to create an album or a set of songs. No one really talks about albums anymore, but a set of songs that basically are consistent in a certain way or form. So that's one way to approach this, and we help labels facilitate that. The other way is just really for the sake of arts, or for the sake of getting new songs, especially in dance and EDM, combining producers and top liners in a camp can be really, really a very fast and good way to get some really good outcome for songs, because what happens is that there's a certain chemistry between the writers that you cannot recreate really on a daily level, because it's a certain thing that happens when you travel and you get to a certain spot, and that spot might be nice, it might have a spa, and it might be just a feeling of relaxation of some sort, and that just basically triggers creativity. And what comes with that is also I think it's just the impulse of creating something that wasn't there before, and the energy plays a big role in this. And then I'm not being esoterical, but we all know how it feels when the family gets together. We all know how it feels if you have a certain community that you meet every weekend, sports or religion or whatever it is. So this is a certain, I'm going to call it magic, that happens there, where then a certain outcome is achieved. Mm-hmm. The good thing for labels and music publishers alike, so I'm turning into the commercial chair here, is that you get a tape that you can work with afterwards. Right. So you get a not a full production, but a solid production from a day of work. So that's really something that drives us to do the songwriting camps.
How often are you out there with them?
Not often enough, because I love it.
Do you?
And of course, yeah, because I'm a nerd mostly, right? So
everybody calls themselves a nerd anymore.
I have
It's
to
awesome.
I have to sit behind the computer and
Right.
and do the things you do these
Sure.
days on a computer every day. So of course I feel very good if I actually see songwriters do the
Right.
thing and sit with them at night and at dinner and we talk about whatever. Of course that's a very nice thing, and unfortunately I don't have the time to be at every single camp that we're doing.
Right.
But I'm trying to at least go to the places at least once a year to see what's going on.
Cool.
So you're also active on the board of the German Music Publishing Association and ICMP. How do you advocate for rights and interests of music publishers and songwriters on a global scale?
What's that? Sorry?
How are you able to advocate for rights and interests of music publishers and songwriters globally? Just your involvement with those organizations.
So a lot of the things that we're discussing on the publishing association level has to do with the PROs or the CMOs around the world, and they are all interconnected already anyway.
Right.
The issues might have a bit of a different reality in each territory, but in general, the issues are kind of similar. So with that, what we're doing with the German publishers, we basically collect and help them navigate through the issues that we're all having. And this is not to be negative on PROs, but we're all dealing with a lot of data.
Right.
And it is not easy to keep a straight line through all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why we're all working together in order to make this data world better. So that's the general approach, right? And then we're working with ICMP, which is basically the umbrella organization that combines all of the or the majority of the publishing associations from around the world in order to exchange these experiences and work more on an international level and find solutions. And also, find the numbers, bring the numbers together so we can talk to politicians so that they realize how culture actually has a number to it. So that might be, for example, it might be easier in the movie industry when you have box office numbers. But in the music industry, where you have different fields, where different revenues being made, live, master side, recordings, publishing, there's a bunch of different areas, and we're representing the publishing scope, and with that, the songwriters, so that countries realize the value of IP, as we say, or
Right.
The copyrights, the songs.
Are you familiar with the new law they passed here in Tennessee?
The Elvis law? Yeah, for sure.
Did you were you involved, or do you have any opinions?
I'm not involved, and I think it's a good approach.
On my first read, it sounded great.
Yeah. I'm actually
you never know what
happy.
Unintended consequences are, but
That's
laws.
always,
but,
yeah, I mean,
but it sure sounded like a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've been following the artificial intelligence laws
Right.
around the world as much as we can, and I think the development in general has been quite good. And I have to be honest, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
When we first looked into this in March last year, so really 12 months ago, I did not expect the politics to move so fast.
Right.
Like this. So
It is Music City.
Well, I'm talking worldwide.
That's all right.
I'm talking about the European Commission.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm talking about Washington. I'm talking about all these things that were put into play,
Gotcha.
play over the course of the last few months. So, I'm positively surprised how the whole world is moving with
Right.
or against
Right.
artificial intelligence.
Right.
We don't know yet, right?
Right.
with the massive
Are we
amounts of,
even here?
I know, right? Is this a simulation? Oh god!
Oh.
No.
with the massive amount of data that you've got to deal with, and all these digital rights management issues and distributed computing and all this. Do you see crypto, blockchain, and in those conversations? Is that a role that maybe AI starts to play? Where do you see that part going?
So blockchain obviously had its heyday like nearly 10 years ago. And the truth where it actually materialized is the cryptocurrencies. That's where the actual application for it is. I knew that the banks were thinking about it. I don't even know if they do now these days or not, or if it's, the original database model. I think that, first of all, it's a tool, right? It's not something that is innately able to change the world, and we don't even know if AI is able to do that, because it's basically just giving you a different variety of what's already been there. So that's the fact. How big of a role can it play? Well, let me say this: it would be a massive help for the industry if it was possible to allocate rights in a blockchain kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
It would be helpful for sure. I don't think we're there yet in terms of the legalities that are just set up in every different territory. So I would like that as a publisher, yes, for sure. But at the same time, it's the human factor that you have to think about. And that's what's been causing the problems of the past, because we're not only looking at a data set that is only digitized to a certain extent, it's also digitized in different manners. And that's the problem, because humans were doing the job. And that's why we have different setups. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're to apply this tool now, you would have to make sure that everything is cleared up first, because otherwise you're just putting your I wanted to say stick in the dirt, but that's not what I mean. It's something that is not clear. So,
right.
Sure.
Yeah.
What does Baylor Music Publishing have coming up? What are your projects that you're excited about?
So there's a band that I signed just recently. They're called Fusio. The singer is from Nashville, the producer is in LA, and the other songwriters are in Germany and in France. So It's truly an international. And the singer here from Nashville is also writing the songs. Or at least co-writing with the other people. That's truly something that I'm really excited about.
What genre is that?
See, I want to call it a mixture of rock, pop, fusion with the 80s. So you will hear a lot of synth in there. You'll have some some brass sections in there, and it's fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll leave you with the link.
I was going to say, where are the samples?
Yeah, absolutely.
No samples. No samples. So that, and then a couple of new signings. We're teaming up with Audi. Audi,
that's cool.
You know her?
Very cool.
Crystal has been one half of Sons of Daughters in the past as a country duo, and now it's a pop project with a little bit of an alt vibe. It's very cool, and there's like 10 more, but how much time do we have?
Yeah, really. We should be like putting in the music, playing it right now.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that's kind of time. But it's been.
Are you cutting us off?
Really?
You're so rude. He's so rude. Gosh.
We nearly have an hour already. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, guys.
No,
don't be sorry.
it has been an absolute pleasure. We really appreciate you doing the show. And
Absolutely.
If someone wants to get a hold of you, I don't know if you want them to get a hold of you, but
Absolutely, anytime.
what's the best way for people to reach
Look out. Here we go.
It's the best way is info@baylormusicpublishing.com. So Baylor is Bailer.
And we'll have a link, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Probably do that. Yeah.
Somewhere there,
Yeah.
somewhere.
Put a link in there.
Hey,
Is that not to self?
love it.
That's note to post-production people.
Gotcha. Yeah. There you go.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thanks for coming, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of Behind the Curtain, Nashville's Movers, Shakers.
And taste makers.
We hope you've been inspired by the stories of passion, perseverance, and innovation right here in Nashville.
A big thank you to our guests for sharing their journeys and to you, our listeners, for joining us. And of course, our gratitude to Accord Real Estate for making this conversation possible.
Don't forget to follow or subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform.
Thank us.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I guess I did. Well, thank us. Okay.
Like I was saying.
Oh, yeah. Go
Don't
ahead.
forget to follow or subscribe on your favorite platform to catch every episode and hit that notification bell. We've got plenty more fascinating guests lined up, ready to share their insights and inspirations.
And we love hearing from you. So reach out to us with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for who you'd like to hear from next.
Until next time, keep chasing your dreams and making your mark in Nashville.
Oh, my goodness.
Remember,
Am I talking to Casey
it's the
Kasem?
people behind the scenes that make the city shine.
I love it. Take care. See you behind the curtain.